उस क्षेत्र में करीब 1 करोड़ भारतीय काम करते हैं, जिनकी सुरक्षा और लाइवलीहुड वहां की स्थिरता पर निर्भर करता है। हाल ही की घटना में कुछ भारतीय नागरिक मारे गए हैं या लापता है। अरे आयम
एक मिनट, यस,
खाड़ी देशों से भारत को हर साल लगभग 51 बिलियन US डॉलर्स की रेमिटेंस होती है, जो लाखों भारतीय परिवार के जीवन का आधार है। वहाँ की घटनाओं का असर भारत पर भी दिखाई देने लगा है। सर, कुकिंग गैस सिलेंडर के दाम में लगभग 60 रुपए की वृद्धि हुई है। कमर्शियल गैस सिलेंडर 115 की वृद्धि हुई है। इसका गरीब परिवारों पर पड़ा है। इसीलिए मैं आपसे निवेदन करता हूँ।
I am coming back to you. Honorable. I am telling I am coming back to you. Sir, definitely I am coming back to you. Please take your seat.
Honorable Chairman, sir.
Honorable. Wait. I understand. I only give him time. I understand his subject. Please. No, 1 minute. Sir. Now, Honorable Leader of the House want to respond to this. No, you wait. Honorable Leader want to respond. Honorable Leader of the House want to respond to this.
Sir.
1 minute.
Sir.
जी, only 1 minute.
ये बार
Only 1 minute.
आदरणीय
1 minute. Only 1 minute, please. All others, please take your seat. All others, you please take your seat. Except Garge, all of you, please take your seat. Jay, you please complete so quick.
सर, मेरे पूछ रहे थे, ताजुब लगा। मैं जस्टिफाई कर रहा हूँ 176 की क्या जरूरत है, और ये जरूरत इसलिए है, वो पॉइंट्स मैं आपके सामने
I already told you, I am coming back to you after due consultation on 176. Please take your seat.
No, this is not necessary. Sir, this is not necessary.
No.
When 176 we discuss, everything will come. So,
no, I am coming back to you after this. Now,
statement by Minister. Yes,
Chairman, sir, I rise to apprise this August House, of recent developments in West Asia that are cause of deep concern to all of us.
Nothing will go on record except the Minister's statement.
As honorable members are aware, this round of conflict started on 28 February 2026. It has witnessed not only fighting between Israel and the United States on one side and Iran on the other, but also attacks on a number of Gulf states. There have been numerous casualties, including at the leadership level in Iran, as well
Nothing will go on record except the Minister's statement.
As well as destruction of infrastructure in the region. At the very outset, government had issued a statement on 28 February expressing its deep concern and urging all sides to exercise restraint, avoid escalation and prioritize the safety of civilians. We believe, and we continue to believe, that dialogue and diplomacy should be pursued to de-escalate tensions and address underlying issues. Sir, it is also imperative that the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all states in the region be respected. Given the gravity of the situation, the Cabinet Committee of Security, CCS, met on 1 March under the chairmanship of the Honorable Prime Minister. It was briefed on the airstrikes in Iran and the subsequent attacks in several Gulf countries. The CCS was concerned over the safety and security of the Indian community in the region. It also focused on the implications for regional security and for economic and commercial activities. The committee was apprised of difficulties faced by Indian travelers transiting the region, and by students appearing for scheduled examinations in these countries. It directed all concerned ministries and departments to take appropriate measures to respond to these problems. Honorable Prime Minister continues to closely monitor emerging developments and relevant ministries are coordinating to ensure effective responses. Sir, the conflict has continued to intensify and the security situation in the region has deteriorated significantly. We have noted that, in fact, the conflict has spread to other nations with mounting destruction and deaths. Normal life and economic activities in the entire region are visibly affected and in some cases have come to a halt. We therefore reiterated our call on 3 March for dialogue and diplomacy and spoke up for an early end to the conflict. I am confident, Chairman Sir, that the House joins me in expressing our sorrow at the loss of lives. Honorable Chairman Sir, while any development that negatively impacts peace and security in the world is deeply troubling, this ongoing conflict is an issue of particular concern for India. We are a neighboring region and understandably have obvious stakes that West Asia remains stable and peaceful. There are almost 1 crore Indian citizens who live and work in the Gulf nations. In Iran too, there are a few thousand Indians who are there for study or for employment. The region is key to our energy security and includes many important suppliers of oil and gas. Chairman Sir, the Gulf is also a major trade partner, accounting for almost $200 billion annually. The House is also aware that in the last decade, there has been significant investment from the region into the Indian economy. Therefore, serious supply chain disruptions and climate of instability that we perceive are serious issues. Furthermore, these include attacks on merchant shipping where Indian nationals often constitute a large proportion of the crews. We have sadly already lost 2 Indian mariners and 1 remains missing in such incidents. I know that the House joins me in condoling their deaths. Honorable Chairman Sir, Government has been assessing the situation in West Asia continuously since the 12-day war in June 2025. We noted the indications of growing tension and cautioned the Indian community in Iran accordingly. On 5 January 2026, Indian nationals were advised by the Ministry of External Affairs to avoid non-essential travel to Iran. Those already resident there were urged to register with the embassy, exercise due caution, and monitor the embassy website and social media handles. A second advisory was issued on 14 January, reiterating this advice to avoid travel in even stronger terms. The Directorate General of Shipping, Mumbai, in parallel, issued its own advisory on 14 January for Indian seafarers, asking them to follow embassy advisories and avoid unnecessary movement ashore. Recruitment and shipping companies were asked not to deploy or send Indian seafarers to Iran. Sir, reflecting our assessment of the evolving situation, the Indian Embassy in Tehran issued another advisory on 14 February urging Indian nationals, including students, pilgrims, business persons and tourists, to leave Iran by all available means of transport, including commercial flights. They were asked to contact the embassy for any assistance and provided with 24/7 helplines. This was again reiterated in strong terms through another advisory on 23 February. Some heeded these advisories and have left the country. However, many others have disregarded them and remain in Iran. We are also in touch with our fishermen who operate out of Iran. This was the situation till 28 February 2020. Once the conflict commenced, the Indian Embassy has facilitated the relocation of several Indian students in Tehran to places outside Tehran. An advisory update with emergency contact helplines was issued on 3 March. Similarly, facilitation was extended to pilgrims for their internal movement. Indian nationals who were in Iran for business reasons were assisted to cross over to Armenia and return home. The embassy in Tehran remains fully operational, in fact, on the highest alert. They are totally committed to supporting the Indian community in this difficult moment and in assisting Indian nationals who may wish to cross international borders. Where seafarers are concerned, the Directorate General of Shipping, through an order of 2nd March, has constituted a quick response team for immediate response, coordination and support functions. This too will function on a 24/7 basis. Honorable Chairman, sir, I would like to inform the House through you that every Indian embassy in the region has similarly issued advisories. The embassy in Israel did so on 28th February and 1 March, UAE on 28th February and 5 March, Bahrain on 28th February, Qatar on 28th February, Kuwait on 28th February and 5th March, and Saudi Arabia on 28th February and 8th March, Oman on 28th February, Iraq on 28th February and 5th March. MEA has set up a dedicated special control room to monitor the situation and respond to queries from
I
those.
will come back to let him complete his statement. Let him complete his statement. You are not allowing him to make the statement. That is not correct. Gargaji, that is not correct. I allowed you to speak. Let him complete the statement. I will come back to you. Let him complete the statement. Please.
The MEA's latest update on this was issued on 7th of March. Honorable Chairman, sir, our diplomats have also worked hard to assist stranded transit passengers in hubs like Dubai, Doha and Abu Dhabi. They have facilitated international border crossings for Indian nationals, including from UAE to Oman and from Qatar, Kuwait and Bahrain to Saudi Arabia. Wherever there has been a partial opening of airspace, we have approved and undertaken commercial flights, including non-scheduled flights, to enable the return of Indian passengers. Our estimate is that as of yesterday, almost 67,000 of our nationals have done so. Sir, I also saw, today I was informed of a handout information put out by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and this tells us of the efforts government is making. Yesterday there were 15 inbound flights operated by Indian carriers which arrived in India, on the 7th. On the 8th there were 49 flights and on the 9th there are 50 flights. So I want to assure the House that every effort is being made that those who are stuck in the region, those who are transit passengers who are there, those who need to come back urgently from this region, we are making every effort for them to do so. Chairman, sir, throughout this period, government maintained close contact with relevant countries. Honorable Prime Minister himself has spoken to the President of UAE, the Amir of Qatar, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince of Kuwait, the King of Bahrain, the Sultan of Oman, the King of Jordan, and the Prime Minister of Israel. In each case, we received assurances that the well-being of the Indian community would be a priority for the host government. I have similarly been in close touch with my counterparts in these countries. Insofar as the United States is concerned, we have maintained regular contacts through diplomatic channels. While attempts have been made, contacts with Iran at the leadership level are obviously difficult at this time. I have, however, spoken to Foreign Minister Arakchi on 28th February and 5 March 2026. We will continue these high-level conversations in the coming days. So, the House will also be interested in the issue of an Iranian vessel that is currently docked in Kochi. The Iranian side had requested permission on 28 February for 3 ships in the region to dock at our ports. This was accorded on 1 March. IRIS Lavan actually docked on 4th March in Kochi. The crew is currently in Indian naval facilities. We believe that this was the right thing to do, and the Iranian foreign minister has expressed his country's thanks for this humane gesture. Honorable Chairman, sir, in view of the implications of this conflict for our energy security, I also seek to address that particular concern. Government remains committed to ensuring that fully, taking into account availability, costs, and risks of the energy markets. For us, the interests of the Indian consumer has and will always be the overriding priority. Where required, Indian diplomacy has supported the endeavors of our energy enterprises in this volatile situation. Honorable Chairman, sir, let me conclude by highlighting the 3 guiding factors of our approach. 1. India is in favor of peace and urges a return to dialogue and diplomacy. We advocate de-escalation, restraint, and ensuring the safety of civilians. 2. The well-being and security of the Indian community in the region is our priority. We will continue to work with the governments of the region towards that end. And 3, our national interest, including energy security and trade flows, will always be paramount. I'm confident, sir, that the government has the full support of this august House on this matter. I thank you.
Now, Honorable Leader of the House.
आदरणीय सभापति जी, बहुत तफसील में विदेश मंत्री जी ने वर्तमान परिस्थिति मिडिल ईस्ट में उसके बारे में इन्होंने जो वक्तव्य दिया है और सरकार की मंशा और सरकार ने किस तरीके से इस क्राइसिस में अपने आप को आगे इन सारी चीज़ों को एड्रेस किया है, इसको बहुत तफसील से बहुत डिटेल में माननीय मंत्री जी ने रखा है। जो ऑपोजिशन की तरफ से एनर्जी के बारे में भी प्रश्न था, उसका भी उन्होंने उस पर प्रकाश डाला है और बताया है कि सरकार किस तरीके से सारी चीज़ों पर सजग भी है, एक्टिव भी है, एड्रेस भी कर रही है और उन सभी समस्याओं के साथ आगे बढ़ करके भारत की जनता को और भारत की आवश्यकता को ध्यान में रख करके हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। बहुत दुख के साथ मुझे कहना पड़ रहा है कि विपक्ष का जो व्यवहार है वो बहुत ही गैर जिम्मेदाराना है, बहुत ही गैर जिम्मेदाराना और यह निंदनीय भी है। इसको जितनी निंदा की जाए वो कम है। इनका इंटरेस्ट न देश में है, न इनका इंटरेस्ट डिबेट में है, इनका इंटरेस्ट एनार्की पैदा करने में है। आज लीडर ऑफ द ऑपोजिशन को आपने 176 के तहत बोलने का मौका दिया, उन्होंने सब्जेक्ट छोड़ करके मैटर पर शुरू कर दिया चर्चा करना। उनको यह मालूम है और था कि विदेश मंत्री जी ने विस्तृत रूप से इन सारी चीजों की चर्चा करनी है, लेकिन उन्होंने अपने तरफ से सारी चीजों को डिटेल में रखना शुरू किया और आपने रूलिंग दी कि आई विल कम बैक टू यू ऑन दिस मैटर, आई विल गिव अ थॉट और इस पर डिस्कशन के लिए करेंगे। इनका इंटरेस्ट कभी भी चर्चा में नहीं रहा है, इनका इंटरेस्ट अच्छा नहीं लगेगा लेकिन हुड़दंग मचाने में है, हुलिगनिज्म है। और मैं उदाहरण के साथ आपको बताना चाहता हूं इस हाउस में इनका रोल क्या है। इन्होंने बहुत हल्ला किया SIR के बारे में, आपने इलेक्शन रिफॉर्म्स, इलेक्टोरल रिफॉर्म्स के बारे में चर्चा का मौका दिया। 9 और 10 दिसंबर 2025 को चर्चा हुई, लगभग 18 घंटे चर्चा चली और दुख की बात यह है कि इलेक्टोरल रिफॉर्म्स के बाद इस सारी चर्चा में यह वॉकआउट कर गए जब हमारे तरफ से जवाब देने की बारी है। उसी तरीके से जब स्पेशल डिस्कशन रिगार्डिंग द इंडियाज एस्ट्रोनॉट अब्रॉड इन इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन एंड क्रिटिकल रोल ऑफ द स्पेस प्रोग्राम विकसित भारत 2047 पर चर्चा हो रही थी 18 अगस्त 2025 को, तो ऑपोजिशन ने इस चर्चा में भाग लेने से अपने आप को अलग रखा। मैं यहां यह भी बताना चाहता हूं कि इनका रिकॉर्ड आपको सामने रखना चाहता हूं। इन्होंने बहुत हल्ला किया, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर, जरा चर्चा करो, पहलगाम का अटैक, पहलगाम का अटैक। 16 घंटे डिबेट चली और जब गृह मंत्री जी ने जवाब देने की बारी आई तो ये विपक्ष वॉकआउट करके चला गया। ये इनका रिकॉर्ड है, इसको हमको ध्यान रखना चाहिए। उसी तरीके से वक्फ बिल पर जब जेपीसी की रिपोर्ट यहां रखी गई तो उस समय भी यह इन्होंने लोकसभा में वॉकआउट किया। यानी कोई भी जो भी देश के इंटरेस्ट में काम होता है उसमें इनका 2025 के बजट के बाद, डिबेट के बाद जब निर्मला जी खड़ी हुई तब भी इन्होंने वॉकआउट किया और इस समय भी 2026-27 के बजट पर जब निर्मला जी खड़ी हुई इन्होंने सबको सुना और जब जवाब देने की बारी आई तो ऑपोजिशन वॉकआउट करके चला गया। यह इनका कच्चा चिट्ठा है, इसको हमको याद रखना चाहिए। इनका कोई इंटरेस्ट देश में नहीं है, इनका कोई इंटरेस्ट भारत के लोगों के विकास में नहीं है, इनका कोई इंटरेस्ट विकसित भारत में नहीं है, इनका कोई इंटरेस्ट आत्मनिर्भर भारत में नहीं है, इनका कोई इंटरेस्ट देश आगे बढ़े इसमें नहीं है। इनका इंटरेस्ट राजनीति करके अपनी ओछी राजनीति को आगे बढ़ाने का है, जो मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में कभी संभव नहीं होगा। वहीं बैठे रहोगे और घटते चले जाओगे, ये ध्यान में रखें।
Now matters rise with permission. Srimati Rekha Sharma ji.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, sir, for letting me speak on this important issue regarding train number 09639/09640 Madar Ajmer Rohtak Special, presently operated as special service between Rajasthan and Haryana. This train provides crucial direct rail connectivity between Ajmer in Rajasthan and key districts in Haryana, including Rewari, Narnaul, Jhajjar and Rohtak. It is extensively used by daily commuters